Welcome back to JP's Budget Collecting and another episode of A&J Reviews. We're talking episode 6 of The Mandalorian tonight, so we are now caught up for at least a couple days before a new episode comes out. And as always, the star of our show is with me tonight. Aiden, what is going on, man?
This is the weirdest episode.
This is the way of this episode. This is the lamest episode.
This is not the way.
This is not the way. This is not the way. What? Just overall, why do you think this was the lamest episode?
Made it good.
What? Go ahead. Sorry, I talked.
It had a lot of actor cameos, which made it a little bit better.
You enjoyed the cameos, but what did you not like about it, just in general?
The beginning.
You didn't like the beginning?
Reasoning is
okay.
Kind of weird with the romance.
Yeah. That was. Yeah, we'll get into that a little bit. Is that the only thing that really made it the lamest episode, or was it just in general the story?
I said the weirdest episode.
Weirdest episode. Okay, weirdest episode.
It's just like the tentacle thingies.
Yeah,
touching the face.
The aliens.
Yeah,
you didn't like that.
If I was a fish, I'd feel so uncomfortable.
Okay, well, I can get that, I guess. So, well, we won't focus too much on that because it really was just sort of the beginning.
Doesn't help the story at all.
So that was me. I was like, it felt weird. It was kind of so yeah, we'll just start digging in here. Like it opens where we see the Mandalorian, the ship the Imperial ships that they've taken over, the Bo-Katan had, so we see they're working as mercenaries, right? And we see they're still kind of working by their code, but so it's just kind of a job for them to do, I guess, to reintroduce us to the characters, but it was kind of an odd sequence, right? It didn't really feel like it fit necessarily in the narrative. And I felt like that was the whole episode, is I don't feel like it really advanced the narrative of the season that much until we got to like the final 5 minutes. So is that kind of where you're at on this episode? It seemed a little unnecessary, I guess, for me. Yeah.
I give it it's almost all the way to the bottom.
Yeah. Least favorite episode of the season, you think?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that happens sometimes. So we see the Mandalorians that used to work for Bo-Katan are now like off doing their own thing. So we jump back to Bo-Katan and Mando and Grogu arriving on this new planet where they've taken up base, or I guess they're making camp and they've been hired to protect this planet, to serve as its kind of protective force. But they are instead of getting to go meet with the Mandalorians, they're forced into the city to meet with the leaders of the city. So what did you think about this whole city that we get introduced to here? Did you think this planet was cool and the city was cool, or did you
was cool?
Yeah.
Until the technology took over everything.
Yeah, so we see there it's a little bit of, and I don't know if you've seen it or not, a little bit of WALL-E going on where the droids are doing everything and the people are doing nothing, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, like they even talk about at one point that like nobody has to work anymore. That we're completely reliant on the droids, and so if they had to shut them all down, they wouldn't know what to do. Yeah, that doesn't seem very
smart. No,
it doesn't seem very smart, right? You're completely reliant on these other beings, and then so we see the reason that they've asked Bo-Katan and Din Djarin or Mandalorian to come help them is because they need help with the droids, but they can't invite like the army in to figure out what's going on. So you talked a little bit about the cameos. So we get a couple of different cameos as we're meeting people in the city. What did you like? What did you like about the cameos? So who did you enjoy seeing?
Jack Black.
Yeah, you like Jack Black's character?
Uh-huh.
Did you think
he's already been in 2 things? He's been in Super Mario and he's the movie, and he's now in a Star Wars TV show.
Yeah, now in the Star Wars.
2 things, 1 actor.
Yeah, he's been in a lot of stuff. So he's a pretty popular actor. And then we get and now I'm blanking on her name. Like the lady that plays his wife in this is also very famous, but I can't think of what her name is right now. I'm blanking on it. But there was another cameo that we weren't sure you would get, but you did recognize which was Christopher Lloyd, the guy who was the Doc
Back to the Future.
from Back to the Future, and you did recognize him. Yeah.
The white hair standing.
Yeah, you remember him with the white hair and everything. Yeah. So you did get to see him, Doc Brown. So you thought? I know some people thought it was weird to have the famous cameos. You liked them. Why did you like seeing the Jack Black?
I don't know. I like seeing actors that really aren't in that really don't really make sense in this category, because they're more serious, but Jack Black's more of a serious character. Yeah. And that's why he played Bowser and all that stuff. And I like seeing characters like him play a nice Prince voice and trying different voices,
doing different things.
So, yeah.
You just like seeing him do different things. Okay. So what we learn is, so they're kind of forced, they take control of their ship and force them to go and meet with the city leaders because they're having problems with the droids. But we see once again, Grogu kind of gets nothing to do here really for most of this episode, as he just hangs out with the prince and princess or the premier or whatever they are.
The Majesty and the Majesty. I think they call them Majesty and Miss. I don't know, what do you call girls?
Yeah.
Miss.
The leaders. We'll just call them the leaders of the world, because I don't remember what their titles were. So he spends the whole episode hanging out with them while Bo-Katan and Din Djarin go off to figure out what's going on with the droids. And we see pretty quickly that Din Djarin once again hates droids, and we get the impression finally that we've never known exactly what happened, but we get the impression again that it has to do with battle droids, because you talked about it. The main droids that they're using in the city appear to be a lot of old separatist battle droids, right?
Clone Wars droids.
Yeah.
Most of them are all the way from the Clone Wars. Some of them are new, but most of them are from the Clone Wars.
Yeah. So what did you think about seeing the Clone Wars droids?
I liked it.
You liked it?
I didn't even know those were still online to get. Or, I guess however they get things, they were still able to get. I don't know how they were saved.
Yeah, so you liked seeing them used for a different purpose? You thought it was fun that they reused that instead of just making generic droids to do other stuff?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So what we learn is they've supposedly all been reprogrammed so that they can be used for carrying crates and shipments and taking care of all these people, because apparently people on this planet do nothing. So what did you think about that when they go and talk to the guy who's in charge of all the droids? That, well, nobody works anymore. The droids do all the work. What did you think about that?
Lazy,
yeah. Yeah, it's kind of not very, I guess we talked about that a little bit already, but not very efficient for sure.
I mean, robots aren't really beings unless it's Ultron we're dealing with, but basically they aren't human beings, but you can still do some things yourself, making bed or
So we're gonna
making robots do all that stuff for you.
Yeah.
I mean, it kind of be a dream, but it's just so lazy you never do it.
Yeah. So they find out there's malfunctioning. So the guy tells them they have to go talk to the Ugnaughts. So what did you think? If you remember back in season 1, his friend that helped him with a lot of this and during season 1 was an Ugnaught. What did you think about seeing the Ugnaughts and how they interacted with them? How Bo-Katan didn't know how to interact with them at all, and he kept talking the way they do, and I have spoken and all that kind of stuff. Did you find that fun?
Yeah, a great connection to the second episode. Technically, for history of the Mandalorian episodes, the first other episodes were actually a 2-episode, because the first episode they ever made were a 2-episode thing. Yeah.
So right back to the very beginning is when we met, and I can't remember what his friend was.
Technically the first episode.
Yeah. And it was I can't remember what his friend was called from season 1 at the moment, but yeah. So you see that but he learned how to he respects them, and then he learned how to do it. And you talked about before we went live that he was the hardest working, he was buttering them up, the hardest working race or, species and all this and all the galaxy. And he was flattering them to get them to help him, wasn't he?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I thought it was true.
Yeah, you think it's true? You think he wasn't flattering him? He was just telling the truth.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah. Maybe.
I mean, they don't know any information from above, and maybe it's because they're working so much. But it's also because they have no TVs and stuff.
Well, that's true. We don't see any. They don't have the typical entertainment like you have. So they don't have any Disney Plus that they're watching. So. All right. So eventually, after he talks with them, they're able to get some help from the Ugnaughts, and they send them down to the docks, is where they think maybe the next malfunctions could occur. And so what do you think of the scene where they're down at the docks and they're talking to the battle droid? And what did you think of this whole Jin's method for trying to test the droids?
I thought it was I thought the droids I liked it because he was kicking them, and the droids deserve that because they're battle droids anyway, and they should have been destroyed anyway.
Yeah,
they should not have been reused.
You think they shouldn't have reused them?
Yeah, they should not have reused them, even though it's cool to see them. They should not reuse battle droids for a city that's peaceful. If it was a Republic city, or if it was like
Independent or whatever.
Republic, whatever city, then the battle droids would be good. But the other things,
you don't think even reprogrammed that they should have been trying to use them?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, he just walks up and starts kicking them to see if he can trigger one of them to malfunction, and somehow that works. But like,
yeah, it works because if they get off, they're supposed to not. They're supposed to keep doing their job, but one of them did not do their job and ran away.
Yeah. So they have to chase it. So what did you think of the whole chase scene through the city as they were chasing the droid? You said you liked that. That was your...
I mean, the robot was kind of fat, really. I didn't know it'd run that fast.
Yeah, he was moving pretty good, right?
Yeah, because when I've seen them in, like, the Clone Wars movies, in those movies,
they're always, like, marching really slow.
Yeah, they're always marching, and I didn't know they could run. I mean, they don't have, like, knees or elbows to pump those arms or pump those legs. Yeah, I didn't know they were that fast. They were that fast. Not even the bad guy should use them. Because if the bad guy was like in trouble or something and the droid chased him, he'd lose. He'd be tackled like a tackle football.
Yeah. Yeah, I thought that was kind of odd because, every time we've seen those droids before in, like, the Clone Wars, they just marching really slow. They'd be much more intimidating if they came running at you like that droid is in this thing as he's running away. So, they're running through town and they're chasing it, and eventually, like, he takes a side route and he dives and tackles him through a window, and they catch the droid, and they find a little card on it, and they go to, of all things, a droid bar. So what did you think of the scene where we went to a place where just droids hang out?
Interesting.
Yeah, you talked about earlier that you were like, well, droids don't really, like, think for themselves and are just, are just programmed. But we see these droids are actually, like, and even when they start asking them questions, they're, like, wanting to help because they don't want all the droids to be replaced, and they appreciate the work. And, like, so what did you think of just that whole dynamic? It was very interesting.
I guess it's kind of like saying, we're not human beings. We can't escape. We'll just be, if we get in trouble, we'll just be turned to scraps. Unlike humans, you just go to jail.
But they clearly...
They're basically saying that robots don't live that long of a life if they just get squished at the end, which is what most of them do. Yeah. That's why there's a thing called trash.
So they're at least, like, what we see is the droids are at least self-aware enough to know that they don't want to be deactivated. They want to continue to function. So it was kind of an interesting thing that we haven't really seen in Star Wars, like the droid perspective on too many things over the years. So it was kind of an interesting thing that we haven't got to really dive into before. So I thought it was kind of a fun scene. To me, other than the end, I think that was like the best scene in the episode was just them talking to the droids and the droids reacting to not wanting to be deactivated and wanting to keep doing their jobs and wanting to figure out what was going on.
Cameos were better.
Yeah. Well, I would agree with that. So they figure out that, so the droids go to this place to get lubricant and basically code repair in their drinks or whatever that they're drinking. And we find out that one of the batches was bad, and it's what's causing the droids to malfunction, is they're getting bad code that's causing them to malfunction.
Isn't it kind of like the clones with their chips? That's why
a little bit.
Bad?
Yeah, because
wasn't the thing that the robots had were like a chip kind of thing?
It was like a nanobot or something.
Yeah.
They're like smaller robots that were going in and reprogramming them.
Oh.
Causing them to malfunction.
That's what a nanobot is. I learned something new.
There you go. Yes. So basically, instead of just getting what they were supposed to be getting, they were getting these little robots that were going in and actually messing with their function. So from that, they're able to determine who the culprit is. Let's see. And so they confront Doc Brown as turns out he's the culprit. And we find out that he is actually a separatist, like not supporting the Republic, not supporting the Empire. And he actually, like, the reason he knows how to do this is he used to, like, be in charge of battle droids and stuff. So did you think that was an interesting twist, or did you kind of see that coming? That he was the bad guy?
He was bad. I didn't see that. Well, I mean, he could have. He was kind of sus.
Yeah.
With the button lying, with the lying about what the button can do.
Yeah.
I mean, that tricked me. The button looks like it makes all the robots turn rogue, kind of. And didn't they technically already do that with the mount functions?
Yeah,
he technically already did that.
So.
He technically already pressed the button then.
Yeah, because at first when they go visit him, he says it's just going to shut them all down, and this says it's going to make them all turn into battle droids again and start attacking people. So he changed the story on the button for sure. But they capture him. But before they capture him, and then we see the scene you talked about. We get to see Grogu's one contribution to the episode, because before they bring him in to face justice or whatever, we see the king and queen or whatever it is they're called playing some kind of game with a ball, and we see Grogu helping her.
Technically a bug.
A bug, yeah. I guess technically it's like a bug. Yeah. And we see Grogu helping her cheat. He's using the Force to help her. What do you think of that?
I mean, it's kind of like I have a connection to Minions to Rise of Gru, because Gru was like playing like this basketball thing, and the minions were just on top, dunking it,
making it go in. Yeah,
they were like
reminded you of that. Yeah. So yeah, Grogu was like, oh, she throws it, and Grogu's like using the Force to make sure she like wins. So that was that's really all Grogu did this whole episode. It was kind of a Grogu light episode for sure. So they bring the guy in, and basically I thought like his excuse for why he was doing it was he didn't like Jack Black's character being in charge, and it was just kind of his punishment, and that whole scene fell flat for me. Did you like that, or did it fall flat for you, or what did you think of like how the bad guy got punished for what he was doing, or not really punished? I mean, I guess he got exiled, but he didn't, like, it was just a weird scene. What did you think of that?
I didn't really notice anything wrong.
Yeah.
Because I've never went to like
You didn't think much of it. You thought it was fine.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
I didn't really notice anything wrong.
All right. So from that, they finally get permission to go see the Mandalorians. And you can see Bo-Katan is kind of nervous because Jin tells her she's their leader, but she's like, I'm not their leader anymore. So when she arrives, you can see that the Axe Wolves, who's their new leader, is not happy to see her. So what do you think about the whole? Finally, in the final 5 minutes, we got something that actually advanced the season. What did you think about how this went down at the end.
Didn't advance the villainy, but the villain I can't say it.
It advanced the storyline of her getting more Mandalorians, right? Of bringing the Mandalorians back together. It didn't advance like the bad guys, but it advanced the Mandalorian side of bringing more of them together, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, what did you think of her confrontation with the guy, the leader?
He's kind of annoying.
Yeah, you didn't like him?
He's getting on my nerves. He's like, they're like, even if she comes back, even though she's not the leader, they all kind of be a little mean to her when she didn't do anything wrong, really, because they're kind of breaking the code anyway.
Right. Well, not all Mandalorians follow the code, right? The Jin and his group follow. Not all of them follow that code, and so they see those. Like already, when she arrives with Mando, they're already looking down on her for hanging out with somebody who's a member of that cult, is what they called them, or whatever, the code that followed the way like that. But they also, like, even when she beats him and he cedes leadership, he's like, well, they see her as a previous failure because, like, when she was sort of in charge is when Mandalore was destroyed and everything else. So they see her as someone who's failed. She failed to get the Darksaber back because he got it. So ultimately, but she gets the Darksaber. So what did you think about how she gets the Darksaber?
I wasn't really paying attention to that all the way back. I was just looking at the cool scenes with the fight. But technically, since Mandalorian dropped the Darksaber and he lost to the creature, Bo-Katan picked it up, which means, and she beat the creature, so that means she beat Mandalorian. Right. I guess. She saved him, but she beat the monster. Yeah. Yeah. And then she got the Darksaber, technically.
Yeah. So based
on Mandalorian just kept it.
Yeah, based on their rules of combat, he was defeated and lost it. Even though the guy took it from him, he didn't really claim it, but the guy took it from him. She then took it back and used it to defeat that guy. So now, technically, I guess it belongs to her. Is what and it seems like they're following her because of that. So, do you agree? Do you think that's right? Do you think that it does belong to her now?
Yeah, and Mandalorian wasn't even good at using it anyway.
He was never good at using it.
It's like someone bad at baseball.
I let go of I lost the Darksaber. I still want an explanation because he's the only one we've ever seen wield it that has struggled that much. And it's not like he's weak. So at some point I need an explanation.
Because he's got the muscle. I don't get it.
I don't get it either. Like exactly what they're going for. Because she has no trouble wielding it.
Just treating Mando bad and this is just about Bo-Katan. He's the best Darksaber wielder, and everybody else is also good at wielding it besides Mando. He's out of the show. It's called the Mandalorians that can wield the Darksaber now.
Yeah. So overall, what do you think? What are you looking forward to? Like final 2 episodes. What do you think? Are you excited still? Are you a little
torture?
What?
Torture.
Torture?
The lady.
Oh, you don't like the weird lady. Well, we won't talk about her.
So. She's gonna come back for both.
Well, yeah, she's probably gonna appear. But what do you want to see in the final 2 episodes? What do you want to see?
Explain why Mandalorian isn't good at using the Darksaber would be one of them. Seeing Grogu actually help.
Grogu actually do something? Okay.
All the Mandalorians fight together against the villain, even though it didn't have to be multiple villains, which it probably will. Probably just be the episode with the pirates. The episode called Pirates, with all the pirates attacking and all the Mandalorians fighting together.
I think we're gonna get
something like that. I think.
Yeah, I think we're definitely gonna get the Mandalorians coming together and some sort of fight, but I don't know that we're actually going to see them just the way things are going. I don't know that we're really going to see Moff Gideon this season or not at this point. I don't know because I
also want to see like a fight on Mandalore maybe where it's going to take place.
Yeah, So I'm interested to see where they go because I feel like they have had some filler here and they got a long ways to go. So
yeah.
All right. Any final thoughts on this episode? Any favorite? You've kind of talked about anything that really stood out that you want to make sure.
The cameos, they stood out so.
The cameos stood out the most to you. Okay.
Yeah, the cameos were just so good. I mean, like, I like movies that don't have cameos, but like movies without cameos aren't really that good because even like for video game movies, like video game movies still need those extra juicy details.
You want little extra details.
Yeah, extra details. Cameos are cool.
All right, you love the cameos. All right.
Yeah.
Well, with that, we are going to get out of here, and we got 2 more episodes to go. We are caught up, so we will be back to talk episode 7, either later this week or early next week. I don't know we haven't talked about a schedule yet, but we will be back. So with that, we're going to get out of here. Thank you to Kenneth and GT Key and a few other people that were watching, and we will catch you all next time. Later.
The lady's disgusting.